Shalom Aleichem, everyone. From the Straits, during the days of Ben HaMetzarim, we're all trying to figure this out. Eicha Yashva Badad. How could it be that Yerushalayim, the capital of the world, Orosh HaOlam, the light of the universe, the place where Hashem's presence dwells, where all of Am Yisrael came to give homage in the Beis HaMikdash, Aliyah L'Regel, pilgrims from all over the world came to experience Hashem's revelation. How could it be that that city that was teeming with people, Yoshevet, sits forlorn, rejected, alone? And how could it be that Am Yisrael, Hashem's beloved children, this great nation, is isolated among the nations of the world? And how do we get out of that stance? And during these days where we kind of double down and focus in on this sense of alienation, this sense of loneliness, of being badad, of being alone, left on the sidelines, so to speak, among our neighbors, how do we get out of that stance and find connection? How do we transform these days of loneliness, these days of isolation, these days of destruction, and these days of distance, to days of connection, to chibur, of rebuilding? There's one eitzah that Rabbi Nachman of Breslov says, which is something that all of us can do. You don't need any specific books or any specific liturgy, any knowledge or any experience. Simply to go out of one's regular place, or to find a specific spot that we set aside and talk to Hashem. That's what Rabbi Nachman says. The way to turn a sense of distance to closeness and alienation to a sense of belonging, a sense of falling apart to coming together, is simply the act of talking to Hashem, opening our hearts and speaking to God in our own words. It's called hitbodedut. Hitbodedus, from the language of badad. Not lonely, but alone with Hashem. To express gratitude, praise, to worry, anxiety, fear, or joy, hope, yearning, just to talk the way we would speak to someone who we love and we trust, who we know loves and trusts us and counts on us and is counting on us. The Ribono Shel Olam is waiting for us from within this narrow place and this sense of perceived darkness and aloneness to just turn to Him in conversation. It's the most simple eitzah. We don't need a script. You don't need a liturgy. You don't need an app. We don't need anything. We just have to open our hearts and speak. By entering into the world of aloneness with Hashem, or at oneness with Hashem, His bodedus, we turn the question of Eicha Yashva Badad. How could it be that Yerushalayim is all alone, that Am Yisrael is all alone, from something which is bitter and painful to something which is actually kind of sweet? That we're not alone. Hashem is with us. And when a Jew recognizes, and when the nation of Israel recognizes that the Ribono Shel Olam is with us, Hein Am Levadad Yishkon, we're a nation that dwells alone with God. And as the pasuk tells us, Hashem Badad Yanchenu, that God alone accompanies us. That means that there's a special hashkacha, there's a special accompaniment. And during these days when we can focus a little bit on what's not, by turning to Hashem and kind of finding ourselves in that conversation, in that relationship, we can very much establish what is. And what is a very real, natural, deep, inextricable, unchangeable, forever connection with the Ribono Shel Olam, the Master of the world. So during these days, let's heed the invitation to turn to Hashem on our own. Let's turn to Hashem in our own words, and hopefully we'll recognize Hashem Badad Yanchenu, that God is guiding us toward a great light, toward great expansion and rebuilding in Hashem.